Okay, hey y'all. So one of the things I'm gonna start doing in these videos is actually shouting out a Black owned business. So I will be highlighting a new business every week, so stay tuned for that. The first one, I want to talk about a brand that I hold near and dear to my heart, Hanifa of the Hanifa official on Instagram. So I have been following them since 2012, literally since Hanifa has started her brand. I am a super fan, and yeah, I just want to shout out her pants. So one thing that I love about her clothes is that everything fits impeccably. Okay, I am definitely very curvy, and I love how these pants fit on me, how they sit on my waist. I also love like this ostrich feather detail. This is definitely a look that I would wear. Sorry y'all, it's raining. It's definitely a look that I would wear going into the office. This is actually a pinstripe shirt, but it's like super cute because it has like these puggy sleeves on it, so it's very fashionable. And then you have these black slacks, but it has like this ostrich feather on the side, so it's subtle but it's fashionable at the same time. So yeah, shout out to Hanifa official. If you haven't heard of her or haven't checked her out, please go do it. She is a fellow Marylander. So I believe she's from Baltimore, recently relocated to the DC-ish area. So yeah, shout out to her. Hey everyone, it's Brittany from the Brittany Christina collection, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about 5 ways that you can break into the fashion industry. For those who don't know, I am a fashion designer. I have been designing for over 10 plus years now, and I actually started my first business as a freshman in college. So no matter what age you are, these are 5 practical steps that no matter where you are in life, you can go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first step is by taking classes, going to school, any type of formal teaching for whatever field or discipline that you're trying to get into. I was actually introduced into the fashion industry at the age of 8. My grandmother first taught me how to sew at 8. It was hand sewing. I was making a project for my little sister at the time and completely fell in love with the process of sketching an idea out on paper and then seeing it come to life. So I was initially taught how to sew at the age of 8. And fun fact about me, I was a college student before I was a high school student. So the summer before I entered 9th grade of high school, I enrolled into the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City, where I took 2 courses for college credit. It was a pre-college program for high school students, and one was a design 101 course where I essentially learned the basics of how to sew using a sewing machine, you know, how to read patterns, you know, just the basics of the different types of fabric. And then the second course, I took a fashion introduction into the fashion industry course. So pretty much this was more experiential learning. I got to roam Manhattan, talk to different designers, visit different showrooms, and really just get to feel what life would be like as a designer. So getting that type of formal education is always a good way to go, especially to understand the basics of the field that you plan to get into. The second way that you can get into the industry is by taking advantage of any internships, shadowing anyone who is already a professional within that industry, or even consider just offering your services for free. So after I graduated high school and I entered into college, my freshman year, I was very fortunate enough to land an internship with a local fashion designer in the area. Having that experience opened my eyes to so much. I think, you know, before you actually know or before you actually get into your field, of course you have these assumptions based on what you see in the movies and that sort of thing. So having that hands-on experience to see how she operated her business pretty much opened my eyes to say, hey, like, these are skills that I can do right now. I don't need to wait until I graduate to kind of start this business. And so my internship actually enabled me to start my business. Like, during that summer, during the internship is when I started my first business, and this was my freshman year of college. So getting internships or shadowing, it's a great way to get experience. During that time, I was able to see what it's like to work with clients, to see what is the process of creating a collection, you know, for a clothing brand. You know, what are the different sewing techniques depending on the type of clothes that you're featured in. But, you know, besides fashion design, if you're a stylist, you know, if you know of a well-known stylist, maybe you can reach out to them via social media to see if they need any assistance, you know, offer your services for free just to see what their process is like, see, you know, what does it look like to actually conduct a business or to operate in that field. That type of experience is so valuable. So the third way to get into the fashion industry is just to go for it. Start your own business, start your own blog, start your own portfolio. No matter what it is that you want to do, just do it. Just start it and you'll learn along the way. So I mentioned my freshman year, I was interning at the time with a designer, realized that, hey, I have the tools. I know how to sew because I learned previously. This was more so a way for me to apply the skills that I already learned. So literally during that internship, I got a couple friends together, you know, models or friends that I knew who wanted to be models or makeup artists or a photographer, and we literally went into my basement. I had created probably like a 5 to 10 piece collection, and we literally shot it in my basement. I didn't know what I was doing. I created my own website. I think my first website was on Wix, so I created it myself. Like, I had no idea what I was doing, but sometimes you just gotta put yourself out there and then go from there. So part of that is just getting started. If you're interested in being a journalist or a fashion editor, start a blog, start following, you know, different blogs and trends. Like, do whatever you can to just immerse yourself in what's available to you. You know, there's a lot of resources around us. There's podcasts. There are publications, magazines, you know, different social platforms. There are Facebook groups. There's so much at your fingertips for you to just get started in whichever way makes sense and is the most comfortable for you. And then this way, people start to associate you with a stylist, or they start to associate you with being a designer. So sometimes you just gotta go for it and then figure it out along the way. But again, there's several different resources to help you, whatever path you take, to help you get there. The fourth way to get into the industry is to actually get a job within retail. The easiest place to start is within a retail store. Now, when you're there, it might not seem like it's helping you in your future, but I guarantee you, when you look back, you're gonna be like, oh, these are some skills that I did here that actually did help me in whatever it is that I'm doing. So my first job in retail, I was a manager at the store level, and to be honest, I hated it. It was a lot of long hours. The customers, whew, it was just not, I knew it wasn't where I wanted to be. I probably lasted like 8 months, but there were some key things. So there are several skills that you can learn working in retail. So I think for me, some of the biggest takeaways within those 8 months was, one, leadership. I mean, being kind of over, so I was the manager of soft lines, which is all of the apparel and accessories within that particular store. So managing your numbers and managing people within that store is super important. There were days when I had to be the acting store manager over the entire store. So there were a lot of business and leadership principles that I learned during that time. The other big thing is visual merchandising. That was probably my favorite thing for working with the stores is being able to work closely with the clothes, to touch it, to know what's selling, what's not selling, to understand, you know, space and balance and, you know, wall design and how many sizes should be on one rack at one time, and not having to overstuff the racks. And there was just so many different things that, you know, I didn't know before, and I probably wouldn't know now if I haven't done that job. And the last thing is customer service. As much as it could be a pain, everybody needs to understand customer service. At some point or another, you're going to interact with another person no matter what line of work you're doing. So having that knowledge can be definitely beneficial, and all of these are great skills to have on your resume. So whether you want to pursue design for another company or style for another company, there's some set of skills that you can take away from working in retail. So I would say the last and final step to getting into the fashion industry is honestly networking. Attend as many events as you can, local. There's also big conferences that happen. I'll tell you, a good resource if you are in fashion is to hit up Harlem Fashion Row. Okay, I first became aware of them probably like a couple years ago. I went to one of their very first retreats last year, and when I tell you, I have met friends, lasting friends, professionals who are also doing the same thing that I'm doing. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is when you're pursuing your passion, you want to make sure that you are associating yourself around people who understand where you're going, because that's going to help to fuel you and keep you motivated, you know, to keep moving forward. And so joining communities, there's so many communities out there. Again, I mentioned Facebook before, finding just different Facebook groups, going to different conferences, also getting a business coach, depending on if you're starting a business. I'd say a big thing that has helped me is to get a business coach, and often your coach has other clients, so that's again another pool of people, like-minded people who are kind of doing the same thing and wanting to get ahead. So network, and there's so many different other ways to network. I mean, even just sending someone a DM is starting that process to build that association. So I would say definitely immerse yourself in as many events as you can. Follow different blogs, read, you know, understand what's going on in the news, like whatever you can do to just immerse yourself in the culture. Attend events, network, meet a new friend, exchange business cards or exchange information. That was so helpful in preparing you or propelling you forward within your career. So I hope this was helpful. I again have done all of these steps to get into the industry, so that's something else that I want to mention. It's not just one thing. It will most likely be a combination of all of these different things in order for you to truly be successful in whichever path that you decide to go into. So again, if this was helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what your favorite part was, or if you've tried any of these steps and, you know, how have they worked for you. So I will see you guys in the next video.